This week, we're going to discuss preventative maintenance agreements. You know, I think preventative maintenance agreements have got to be one of the best deals around. I mean, there just doesn't seem to be any downside to them. So I wonder why service technicians don't suggest them to every customer who isn't already signed up. Perhaps you don't see the benefits as clearly as I do. Or maybe you're just not sure when to bring up the subject of preventative maintenance with the customers. Well, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. How many of you own cars? Okay. Do you ever get the oil checked or the filters changed? Do you have the tires and the fluids checked? What about the window wipers? Do you try to get regular tune-ups? Why do you go through all this trouble? Isn't it so you can prevent a larger problem, possibly a very costly one? Why, you just might have to replace the whole engine. And in many cases, you'd be better off just buying a whole new car. Okay, hold that thought. Now, what happens when the customer forgets or fails to clean the filters on the air conditioner? How about the furnace? The equipment has to work harder to pull the air through because of the restricted flow, doesn't it? First, that means it won't be able to work as efficiently, so it will cost more to operate. Second, there's a terrible strain on the equipment which could lead to a major breakdown. So, let's see. The customer will waste money even if it continues to work, and if it does break down, they'll suffer loss of comfort, they'll be inconvenienced by having to schedule a repair, and they'll lose even more money on the repair or replacement. Sounds like preventative maintenance might just have some customer benefits. Now, before we move on, let me give you just one more analogy. Why do people go to the doctor for physicals or checkups? Is it always because they're sick? Or is it often because they want to keep from getting sick? Well, you could say that a physical is simply a scheduled visit that's part of a preventative maintenance agreement between the doctor and the patient. It's no different than what you are offering your customers. You're like a doctor with the customer's equipment as your patient. If you do find a problem, the customer still benefits, just as the patient does, because early treatment prevents the problem from becoming very serious and very costly. That's why today's HMOs are so aggressive in getting their subscribers to see doctors regularly. It saves the insurance company money on costly hospital bills by keeping people healthy. That's great for the customer, you say. But what about the service technician? What's in it for him? Well, suppose you suggested more preventative maintenance agreements. That means you'll be inspecting the customer's equipment on a regular basis. And aren't you more likely to find repairs that need to be taken care of? Yes, you are. Of course, that means you'll have more work scheduled because preventative maintenance agreements allow us to fill in the gaps when our regular work slows down. And steady work translates into more job security for all the technicians in the shop. Okay, that's a couple of benefits, but the bigger benefit is more subtle. How many times have you gone on a job and found something unrelated to the job, but if you hadn't checked it, could have resulted in a major repair or safety problem? Maybe you were there to fix a leaky pipe in the basement. You happened to check for carbon monoxide and discovered it was a real danger. Or perhaps you were on a call to check a furnace and noticed an old pipe joint starting to leak. Even if it's only 1 out of 100, doesn't that make it worth it to you and the customer to have someone come in and check for problems on a regular basis? It relates back to the importance of the service you provide, and you have a lot to be proud of. And what about the company? That's easy. More business, more business, more business. And for several different reasons. First, the technicians will be discovering the need for more repairs as part of the preventative maintenance agreements. Second, the customers will become more loyal and therefore more long-term. So when a repair is needed, even if you're busy, they won't call another shop just to get faster service. After all, with the agreement, they have the added incentive of a special lower price on repairs. Then, as the relationship grows, trust develops, and the customers will be even more likely to refer the shop to their neighbors and friends. Now, what about when and how to suggest preventative maintenance agreements? Well, in some ways, They're like extended warranties, and so, when appropriate, should be treated as features of the main sale rather than add-ons. But unlike extended warranties, preventative maintenance agreements can be totally unrelated to the job you are on. So, when you're fixing that water heater, you can then suggest an agreement to service the furnace or the home's entire heating, ventilating, and air conditioning system. Of course, you'll want to follow the proper selling steps, but you can use your best judgment. As always, use features, advantages, and benefits just as you would for any product or service you are presenting. If it helps, try using one of the analogies we've talked about, or come up with one of your own to better illustrate the point. Let's look at a few examples.
Okay, Mrs. Smith, here's the price for the repair we were considering.
And what's this lower price over here to the right?
Well, that's a price for our customers with preventative maintenance agreements, like the one I suggested to you earlier. Along with thorough inspections and cleanings, you also get a discount on any future repairs during the period covered by that agreement. Well, I can get your disposer installed now, Mrs. Billings.
Oh, great. Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome. Before I get started, I just wanted to let you know about something that I think would be great for you and your family. I noticed that your drains are running a little slow, and I wanted to suggest a preventative maintenance agreement for your home's plumbing.
Okay, you've got my attention. What exactly is this?
It's an added service that we provide to our customers. It's one of the best values around. You know how you get the oil changed on your car every so often to keep it running smoothly?
Yeah, sure.
This is the same idea. One of the great things about having the agreement is that it can prevent problems before they become repairs. We'd come out to the house on regularly scheduled visits to do a thorough inspection of the plumbing and take preventative measures so you don't run into any trouble later on. You can avoid inconvenience and save money at the same time. That's pretty good value, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding? With 2 kids to feed, I'm for anything that saves me money.
I don't blame you at all. Another great thing about having a preventative maintenance agreement is that you can get a reduced rate on any repairs you do wind up needing. So you're saving even more money. And these days, every penny counts, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, Mike, you're saying that if I get a preventative maintenance agreement, you guys will come out regularly and check to make sure my drains are running clearly?
Definitely, yeah, and more. Here, let me show you what's included.
Okay. Sounds interesting.